Hello everyone, welcome back to the Kia Hyundai channel. My name is Gabby and I have three words for you: Hyundai, hybrid, and hockey. In today's video, we're going over the brand new first ever 2026 Hyundai Palisade with a hybrid powertrain. So this vehicle has been completely redesigned from the ground up. It's now larger, we got bigger proportions, we got a brand new powertrain, and a whole lot more. Now in today's live stream video, we're doing a full walkthrough of everything you get, and of course, I'd like to highlight the fact that this particular vehicle is actually a special edition. The trim level is the Ultimate Calligraphy, so everything you need and more is located in this trim. It gives you all of the luxury features, all of the available technology, and more specifically, 500 units coming to Canada will have the NHL Special Edition package. What that means for us here is we get a special exterior color. I'll talk more about that later. A special interior, and the option to put your favorite NHL team on your door sills, your carpets, and your cargo liner. Hyundai is also giving away a Yeti cooler with all NHL Edition hybrid purchases. It's only available on the Calligraphy Ultimate or Ultimate Calligraphy Hybrid. So if you're looking at the gas model, unfortunately you cannot spec out an NHL Edition, but it's pretty exciting, and if you have any questions, please leave them in the live chat. I want to start off with the MSRP today, which is $65,699 Canadian. That is the base MSRP before taxes and fees. Now I'm going to have Adam take over the camera while we start off with the exterior. And I will mention to you guys, if you are shopping for the regular hybrid version, not the NHL edition of the Ultimate Calligraphy, everything else will remain the same as far as styling, technology, and of course safety equipment. The only differences are cosmetic, so things like this matte paint, the interior color I'm about to show, and of course those hockey exclusive accents. Now let's start off with the paint, you guys. This is our creamy white in a matte finish. So matte, contrary to a solid or shiny paint, has a non-reflective finish. It actually has an abrasive surface to it instead of completely smooth and polished, which kind of diffuses light and doesn't give you that shiny appearance that red Optima over there does. So it's very, very different, and this is meant to mimic what a frozen rink looks like, hence the NHL edition. You guys getting any rink vibes? I'm not, but you might. It is a little bit more tedious to take care of, but if you really do love it, it's worth it. It does stand out and differentiates itself from the rest of the white cars out there. Your headlamps will be the same on all models of the Hyundai Palisade. We have a beautiful, almost fang-like daytime running lights, and your main headlamps, they're positioned not too high, not too low, just at a completely perfect height. Everything is an LED, and for your main bulbs, they're also projection style. So they're more focused on where you need the most while driving, and there's less overspray. That's also helpful for other drivers. The Ultimate Calligraphy will also get you all of the available technology and safety functions. So one of the major highlights is the addition of Highway Driving Assist Level 2. So that is essentially a smart cruise control that also knows the speed limit of the highway that you're on, if there's any bends in the road, and does its own lane changes. So it's a very advanced driver assistance function. It'll use that by this radar plate, or it'll work based off this radar plate located in the very center that monitors the distance of your car and the vehicle ahead of it. You can make minor tweaks to this. You can also turn off the auto lane change function if you're not a fan of it. There's so much customization that can be done in terms of driver convenience on this vehicle. I think we'd need a 5-hour live stream to talk about all of that. But of course, leave any questions in the comments. The front grille of the Ultimate Calligraphy is exclusive, so you get a lot of gloss black with a subtle amount of these satin chrome trim pieces to really add some contrast and give it a more stylish approach. It's not boring, but it's not overdone. It's not busy. I think it looks perfect. Your Hyundai badge is also in that same satin chrome finish, and it's nicely stamped into the hood itself, so it looks seamless. There's a lot of lines on this car, but it's not too parametric the way some of Hyundai's previous vehicles have been, if you know what I mean. If you ever looked at the side panel of the Tucson, there's a lot of folds. It's almost like origami. This is smooth, it's sleek, it's nice. We've got a few other things I'd like to highlight in terms of technology and safety, and those are the ultrasonic parking sensors located on your front bumper. So these circular sensors will send a beep or an audible alert inside the cabin when you approach something too closely. This vehicle is larger than the previous Palisade. It's about 7 extra centimeters in its wheelbase, with a slightly shorter front overhang and a slightly longer rear overhang. It gives more balance to the vehicle, Really a lot of stance too. Looking at it, it's upright, it's handsome, it's tough looking. And for a flagship SUV, I would expect nothing less. It definitely has a lot more road presence than the previous generation. In terms of things Hyundai has added and built in, we have active air vents too. So these panels over here are closed, but if I were to turn the vehicle on and start driving, they would open and close as the vehicle seems necessary to allow airflow, but also to minimize drag. So the fact that they can open and close willingly makes it more efficient. And on a hybrid, who doesn't love efficient? That brings us to our next talking point, which is the actual powertrain. So let me quit yapping for a second and pop the hood. This is a first ever for Hyundai. And I mean, we've had hybrids in the past, but nothing to this level. What we have is the next generation of our hybrid power plants. It utilizes not one, but two electric motors, and they both have separate purposes. Your first electric motor will act almost like a generator, so it's meant to recapture energy and replenish the battery, while the secondary electric motor is meant to drive the wheels. So essentially, we're supposed to have more EV driving time with this generation hybrid than our previous systems, which only utilized one, and that did both purposes. So, because again, they have their separate functions, more electric driving range. It's not going to be like a PHEV where you know you're getting 55 kilometers of pure electric range on a full charge. This doesn't give a rated number, but you'll spend a lot of your time at idle or low speeds, even, city cruising speeds in electric mode. Very handy. Now, it's a hybrid, so there's obviously a gas engine too. Let's talk about it. This is a 2.5-liter turbocharged gasoline direct injection 4-cylinder engine. Combined with your electric motor, we produce 329 horsepowers and 339 pound-feet of torque. That's a big number. That is quite an improvement from the V6 option on the Palisade 2. So a lot of people think big SUV, all-wheel drive, 3 rows, I need me a V6, maybe even a V8. It's not the case. This 4-cylinder with the 2 electric motors does even better than our V6 in terms of power. So if you want the efficiency and the power, this is the way to go. Another great benefit of this specific powertrain is by combining both forces, we have an average fuel efficiency of about 8.1 liters per 100 kilometers compared to the 12.7 that the V6 will get you. That also means a lot of your stop-and-go driving time will be spent in electric mode, where a regular gas vehicle would be idling the entire time. So less emissions on this vehicle, less wasted fuel, and a lot more range. On a 69-liter fuel tank, we have over 1,000 kilometers of range on a full tank. That is an impressive number, especially considering this is a smaller tank than the V6 version. I don't know, you guys, are you impressed yet? Let me know in the comments. For your windscreen, the Ultimate Calligraphy trim level will introduce rain-sensing wipers, which, I mean, you'd think I'd show you the wipers, but the sensor for the rain sensing is actually located in the windshield itself. The windshield, the front glass, and the rear glass is all done in an acoustic laminated finish too. So in terms of road noise and cabin quietness, this vehicle will do a heck of a lot better than the traditional or previous version of the Hyundai Palisade. It's not just the glass that makes a major difference, it's also the wheels. On the Ultimate Calligraphy, we have a 21-inch alloy that is exclusive to this trim. But it's not the wheel that makes it quiet, it's the tire itself. So this is an acoustic-filled tire, which means there's an extra inner layer of foam meant to lessen the amount of road noise, wheel noise. Pretty cool. They really thought of everything, and they introduced far more interior and exterior dampening on this vehicle to make the cabin experience quieter, but of course you can still hear things like emergency vehicles or someone honking at you. The important stuff still comes through, the rest of it dulled out. Back in terms of styling though, I do think this 21-inch alloy is quite beautiful. We have a large ventilated disc brake up at the front and a solid disc brake in the rear. It's actually quite cool to announce that we do have the best stopping distance in our competitive segment right now. So of course, we have improved from last year's Palisade. I believe it's about 4.3 meters. Sorry, not 4.3, 43 point something meters to stop from 100 to 0 kilometers per hour. That is better than the Toyota Highlander and the last generation Hyundai Palisade. So great stopping power. For our all-wheel drive or drivetrain system. It is standard all-wheel drive on all trim levels of the Palisade, and it does have a front-wheel drive bias. So if it's a regular sunny day, you're driving on dry pavement, it'll be primarily front-wheel drive for fuel efficiency, but it'll automatically redistribute power if you're launching from a standstill or the vehicle detects a little bit of slippage, it automatically corrects. There is also snow, mud, and sand mode, which will give manual presets for the all-wheel drive traction distribution and give you optimal traction in those conditions. You can go all the way from an 80 to 20%, so 80 in the front, 20 in the rear in snow mode, down to 50-50 if it detects you need a little bit of extra grip. Mud and sand mode will be 50-50 at all times. Definitely meant for lower speed driving when you are stuck or trying not to be stuck. Surrounding your wheel arches, it's body color, and we have a reflector and a side parking sensor right up at the front. Those sensors are extremely helpful, again, for parking, but also they're going to be tied into your automatic lane changing. So because we have them on the front and the rear, it'll make sure the vehicle is safe to do its own lane change. If you're doing the lane change yourself, the vehicle still has active safety functions like blind spot detection, but also a blind spot camera, which will show you live exactly what's happening in your vehicle's blind spot. You'll notice the mirror's flagpole has a lot of gloss black, including the arm or the extension. There's also an LED turn signal indicator, and they are power folding and heated. For your doors, we have our handles with proximity-based entry, so as long as the key is on me, I'll simply walk up to the vehicle, reach for the handle, it'll unlock, and then I can press on it again when I'm exiting to lock the car. It's gonna freak out at me because the key is inside, but it is a great system. You do also have digital key entry, so if you have your phone set up to BlueLink, which is Hyundai's telematics system, you can unlock, start, and drive your car simply from your phone, no key involved. That's optional, of course, but it is quite cool. Up at the top, we have a raised roof rail, and these roof rails are capable of holding 220 pounds. Because they're raised, you can also still utilize your vehicle's sunroof and keep your cargo out of the way. So extra space. Who doesn't love extra space? Speaking of extra space, that was one of the major things in making this vehicle larger. We have a wheelbase that is about 7 meters longer. That would be crazy. 7 centimeters longer than last year's Hyundai Palisade. And like I mentioned, it's slightly shorter in the front and a little bit longer in the rear, balancing the vehicle. But that's also going to give you more legroom. We'll see that a lot when we hop inside the cabin. The rear of the vehicle features a multi-link rear suspension that is also auto-leveling. So if you choose to tow with the car, it'll automatically adjust to prevent sagging. But even if you're not towing, you're just loading your vehicle up for a road trip, it'll still automatically adjust. My dad just pulled in to the dealership. There's his red truck. All right, let's get back to the car though. Can you guys tell this is a live stream video? No editing? All right, for the rear of the vehicle, you'll notice in terms of badging, we have the same satin chrome elements, almost brushed aluminum that we had up at the front, with our Hyundai badge right smack dab in the center. Your rear glass is quite large, which is helpful, of course, for visibility, and this will also be heated. There is a camera over here, which is not your backup camera. It is something far cooler. It'll be the camera utilized for not only your dual channel dash cam, which is exclusive to the Ultimate Calligraphy trim level, but also your digital rear view mirror, which is also exclusive to the Ultimate Calligraphy trim level. We'll see both of those when we hop inside. You have your rear parking sensors, specialized hybrid badging, exclusive only on the hybrids, and then our typical rear camera, backup camera. You'll notice these little balls above the camera, for lack of better words. That is actually an integrated camera washer nozzle. So it's on the rear view, but also our digital rear view camera up here. So that will automatically wash the cameras if it senses buildup, but also every time you go to utilize your rear washer fluid, it'll just automatically do it. It's quite a nice touch. Show the cargo space. We have 540 liters of space behind our third row seats here. Now, if you are looking for the Ultimate Calligraphy, it is only available as a 7-seater configuration. So we have 3 in the rear, 2 in the middle. Those are your premium captain's chairs. And then, of course, 2 up at the front. All of these seats have power controls. So however you want to adjust them, there is a complete control panel on the left-hand side, which I'll have Adam show. You can separate whether you'd want to do the second row, the third row, the left, or the right. And it looks like there's a lot going on because there is, but they made it very easy to do your exact adjustments. So you'd cycle between second and third row here, right over there. It highlights what you've selected. This button will automatically fold them down or fold them up. If you want to do all of them all at once, there's this little trigger. And then you can also adjust the rear seats on their rails, or technically not rails because they're powered, but you can move them left and right, again, right over here. So lots of controls. If this seems overwhelming, don't worry, there's another way to do it. You can head on over to your driver's seat, go to your main screen, and select exactly which seat you'd like to adjust and change it from there. So you can do it from the screen or you can do it from back here. Underneath our floorboard, we've got a little bit of space, just a little bit. Typically, this is where you'll find your mobility kit. However, we've already moved it. There we go. It's Velcroed, which is quite nice because it's not going to roll around while you're driving. Not nice to show on camera because I'm struggling. So your tire mobility kit will essentially take place of a traditional spare tire. It's an inflator with a sealant, so if you pick up a nail and you're starting to lose air, it'll plug that hole until you get a proper replacement or repair. And then to the right, we have our hitch receiver, because this vehicle has a factory integrated tow hitch. Usually that's something you could always add on to your Hyundai Palisade, but now it's coming from factory with it. So we have the actual receiver here. And then underneath, this panel here has 2 screws along the bottom. You can undo it and then plug it right in. Quite cool. All of the models of the Hyundai Palisade come with pre-wiring as well. If you do plan on towing with this vehicle, it's 4,000 pounds of towing capacity with proper brakes. And of course, that is a very, very good number. It's only 1,000 pounds shy of the V6 gas model. All right, I think that's about it for our cargo space right now. I will fold down the third row so you guys can see what it's like when not in use. So let's knock them down. It automatically folds down your headrest. Because they're powered, it's not necessarily the fastest way, but I mean, I didn't have to put a lot of effort into it, so it's pretty nice. So completely flat floor over here, a ton of room in terms of the vertical, and a big part of that is the design of the Palisade. It sits very upright now, so visibility outside of your windows, both if you're a driver or a passenger, is great, but you're also going to have a lot of headroom, shoulder room, and just space. The cabin is quite large. Along the sides, we'll give a quick pan. We do have a subwoofer in the rear. That's part of our 14-speaker Bose sound system. There's also 100-watt USB-Cs for fast charging and adjustments for your seat, like the amount of recline, but also the position of the bottom portion where you're actually seated on. You can give yourself a little bit more or less legroom if needed. The same on the right-hand side, so all 3 of your passengers in the rear can adjust their seating position. Then of course, vents are also back here. They're mounted on the ceiling, so the airflow will actually go towards you as a passenger, and you can close them, open them, and redirect their airflow. Alrighty, let's take a look. We're working our way to the inside now, you guys. That's where things get crazy. First, I'll talk about the fuel door. So like I mentioned earlier, it's a 69-liter tank. I didn't unlock it. Sorry, you guys, I am new here. So one thing that I still trip up on is some of our vehicles, most of our vehicles, have a push-style gas door. Hyundai decided to change it up with the Palisade and put an actual button for it. We learned that together. So 69-liter tank, which is smaller than the V6 version, which means it's also going to be cheaper to fill up, but you're going to go a heck of a lot further with one full tank of gas. You can actually go from Toronto all the way to Quebec City without stopping for fuel, but you might have to stop for a bathroom break. Up to you guys. Let's close that up and we'll take a look inside. So like I mentioned, with the NHL edition of the Ultimate Calligraphy, we do have a charcoal interior, which is exclusive only to this special edition. However, there are 3 different interior options to choose from if you're just shopping for a regular Ultimate Calligraphy. There's a light gray, there's the typical black, and a nice brown too. So this charcoal, I don't know how well it looks on camera, but the stitching and the piping is almost like a taupey brown, very pretty. Then the charcoal itself, I don't even want to say it's too gray. It kind of has brownish undertones. The inserts that we'll find in the center console and also our dash have a wood-like vibe to them. My very official descriptions, you guys. But that really brings a level of earthiness into the cabin that I quite like, and also a lot of luxurious touches. It is very, very nice, and you also see a little bit of that ambient lighting too, both in the door sills and in the dash material. The headrest of the seats, you'll notice we have calligraphy embossing, so a bit of a more premium feel, and of course that is exclusive to the Ultimate Calligraphy trim. Inside the seats, we of course have perforated Napa leather, these small metal inserts that do not get in the way of your comfort. They don't, push into your back. And then so many different ways to configure the seats themselves. So I'm just going to quickly hop in and show you guys what I'm talking about. And keep in mind, none of this is NHL exclusive. The only thing that is the seat color or the interior color. So we have our knee extender, bottom, which you can raise or add a tilt and angle to, your backrest, multi-way lumbar support, 4 different levels, and then our bolstering adjustment. So your bolstering is essentially your seat kind of hugging you. These panels here, and also along the sides or upper portion of the seat, can kind of squeeze into you or push out. So it can feel a little bit like a hug. How nice. Adam's gonna turn the lights back on, and I'm just gonna quickly take over showing you what's on the door card. Unfortunately, we have motion sensor lights, you guys. Now with all these seating controls, it's very helpful that we have memory seats, but we'll also get a massaging or ergomotion seat on this specific trim level so that you can turn on or off and also adjust what kind of massage it's giving you. Your door handles are satin chrome, and so is your window and mirror controls. You got power folding mirrors that you can shut on the fly, also adjust the left and right, and then your directional controls. All of your windows are express up and down, and we have our integrated window and child locks in one button here. Along the bottom, we have a bottle holder, technically 2 bottle holders. There's space for 2, and a nice amount of just extra storage. It's worth noting that there is a groove here that you can put other things in, like pens or whatever you want. Then along the side, we have air vents, quick controls for our brightness, our tow mode, traction control, electronic parking brake, as well as your fuel door and your liftgate release. The steering wheel is very, very premium, being heated with 2 different levels and having, again, that soft touch leather finish. The left-hand side is reserved for your driver assistance, so our highway driving assist or smart cruise control, as well as your following distance, your steering assistance, and then this notepad button here, which changes what's displayed on the gauge cluster. We have a fully digitized gauge cluster on this vehicle. Sorry about the beeping, it'll go away in a second. There we go. And we can change what our view is in the very center, including things like our navigation, our trip computer, and where's our special hybrid menu? There we go. This shows exactly what your vehicle is doing in real time, if it's running power off the electric motors only, if it's recharging your battery, or if it's drawing mainly from the gas engine. Your speedometer and tachometer are quite nice. You can see we have digital views of both at all times. It's going to keep showing that my door is open, so pardon that warning, but exclusive to hybrids, we also have this eco and power band. So this shows you when you are essentially drawing more power back into your battery via regenerative braking or coasting, and when you're more so leaning into the power band, so drawing more power from the gas engine. The right-hand side, we have our media and volume controls, and mounted on the back are our paddle shifters. This is a 6-speed automatic transmission, and a quick little chat about the paddles themselves. So if you are in sport mode, you can adjust what gear you're in. You can upshift, downshift, the typical paddle shifter experience. If you're in eco mode or any of our other drive modes, however, it'll adjust the level of regenerative braking. So with hybrid vehicles and plug-ins and full EVs, when you go to hit the brakes, a big chunk of that slowing down process isn't really using your mechanical brakes. So one of the benefits of that is less brake wear, or a longer brake life. Another thing is that power or that energy is going back into your battery rather than just being wasted energy on a regular gas car. So essentially your electric motor, instead of propelling you forwards, is recharging or regaining some of that power and storing it into the battery to use later on, which is very, very handy. Of course, we still have mechanical real brakes, and if you absolutely step on the brake pedal, you're going to be using that. but in regular slowing down or coasting, it's regenerative braking, and it's really nice to have the ability to adjust how intense that is. We're already at 24 minutes. Oh my gosh, this is going to be a long video. Let's do a quick speed run. This main panel here, we have adjustments for our auto hold, our drive and terrain mode, which by pressing cycles between the two, and then by using the toggle changes the exact mode. So eco, sport, my drive, and then terrain, we have snow, mud, and sand. To the right of that, we have our vents, buttons for quick controls or quick access to things like our map, a search function, and then seek and track for media. Below that is climate control, set your exact temp, turn on your heated seats, ventilated seats, and heated steering wheel all from here, with us also having a driver-only mode. You can adjust the rear on your own or leave it free range for your rear passengers. There's also the ability to lock it for them as well. The center console is a floating style, so because our gear shift is actually mounted on the steering column, we have a lot more free room for other things, like 3 USB-Cs. This one is for data connectivity and charging, and the other is simply for charging, being 100-watt chargers, so very quick. There's a wireless phone charger here, 2 generously sized cup holders, and a very funky center console storage area. Opens up just like that, and it's dual purpose. It's just storage, or you can also have it be your UV sanitization tray. In order to turn that on, there's this little button here, which will light up, and then once you close this, you can sanitize whatever you need. So cell phones, sunglasses, that kind of thing. Let's close that up. There's a valet seat for the passenger, so you can adjust it for them, or if you have people coming into the second or third row, just make it a little bit more convenient for them. And both driver seats, or both seats up at the front, will have our relaxation mode. So if I'm, just waiting to pick somebody up and they're not ready yet, I can turn on the relaxation mode. The seat will adjust, go backwards, my leg rest will come up a little bit, and things will get nice and comfy. There's actually 4 seats that do this in the vehicle. Obviously the driver's seat, the passenger seat, and both of our second row captain's chairs. All right, I gotta get out of here. We're almost at 30 minutes, you guys. Sunroof over here, this is a power sunroof, nice and wide, and then we have a dual pane in the rear. Let's check it out, speed run style. Passenger seat, Adam. Let's go, let's go, let's go. All right, passenger seat is of course powered, and like I said, also has the relaxation function. Here are all your controls. You got your knee extender, your bottom adjustment, the relaxation button, backrest, and then two-way lumbar support. There's no bolstering adjustment here, so if you need an extra hug, make sure you're the driver. Dash material, like I mentioned, we have that wood paneling. I love it. And then a little bit of that ambient lighting. For your glove box, there's a little upstairs storage shelf, and then a nice sized actual glove box with LED lighting. All of your interior lights are LEDs, so your overhead, your vanity lights for your mirrors, and then of course the glove box lights. Let's take a look at the second row. Every time I film a larger vehicle, anything with the third row and a lot of tech, I know it's gonna be a long one, but you guys, I can't believe we're already at half an hour. Okay, sitting in the far seat here, you can see based off Adam's door that we do have integrated sunshades. That is standard on the Hyundai Palisade. On the door card itself, we have that same nice charcoal material, a little bit of a textured insert here, and then all of your finishes are in a beautiful satin chrome. This will light up to warn you when you are departing from your vehicle if there's someone coming up in your blind spot, so extra blind spot safety. Your cup holders are on the door card with the bottom bottle holder. And then there's a nice touch of ambient lighting in our side pocket here. The seats over here, you can see we have a bunch of power controls. So we have a height adjustment for the seat, our backrest, and then a quick button to put it in relaxation mode. I'm not going to demonstrate that now because it takes too long, but we will do a video just dedicated to all of the power seat controls in the Hyundai Palisade. If you don't want to use the power controls, there's some manual stuff too, like our armrests. Very nice. And then up at the top, we have a microfiber deluxe headliner. Feels very soft. The fact that it's a lighter material too really makes the cabin feel extra open and extra airy. And I mean, the double pane sunroof also helps with that. This one has a powered cover, so you don't have to reach back to close it if you don't like it. And then right over here, we have our climate control. So we can turn on or off our heated and ventilated seats for the second row. but also adjust the temp to our exact liking, change the fan positioning, and the fan intensity. This will of course light up with our actual values if the car was on, but now that we're in the second row, I can't turn the car on. It's okay. The back of the center console will have a 115-volt inverter and then a small storage compartment right underneath that back. There is a hallway, or of course, the aisle in between to get into the third row, which makes it nice and easy. But if you need a little bit more space, this button on the shoulder area of both of our outside seats will put the seat into our entry position. Keep in mind, it's powered, which makes it convenient, but not fast. Now we know why this video was so long. We were just waiting for the seats to move. All right, and of course, I already knocked all these seats down, so now I gotta go bring them back up. All right. Aren't we glad that they're all powered? Yeah, this one's gonna go back to its positioning because I put for all of them to go on. I didn't really think that far ahead. All right. Hey, you guys. All right, while that seat goes back into its easy entry mode, I am going to sit my butt in the third row, put our headrests up, and here's where we're at for space. So it's definitely seated a bit higher than our second row seats, and that makes sense. Keep in mind our drivetrain. But my head is nowhere near touching. It actually convexes upwards a little bit too to give even more headroom space. These seats, like I mentioned earlier, do also recline. I noticed that our lights are off. Again, good thing we got overhead LEDs. So if I would like to position my seat back further, I can. See how it's moving? Nice. And then I can recline it too. So if I need to relax a bit on a long road trip, there's ways to adjust it. This seat is also in part with our middle, and then we have the single seat on the right-hand side. So it's a 60-40 split for these guys. Adam already went ahead and showed you guys all of the controls in the third row, so I'm going to skip that. But again, we have large windows, so we can still see outside. Because it's a captain's chair and not a bench in the middle, I also still feel like I'm connected to the cabin. I'm not blocked off by the great wall of back of the seat. And I can still get a good view out of the sunroof too. So it is a very good third row to be in. I really do love the fact that you can adjust how much space you want in the third row too. So if it's a full house, every seat is taken, and you have cargo in the back, you can always maneuver your seat to be positioned a little bit more forwards. That way you got more cargo room, or if you're not taking anything with you, just recline it to the max and enjoy your third row experience. It is a very thoughtfully laid out car. I really do love it. Now I'm going to turn off these overhead lights and answer some of y'all's questions before we end off today's video. All right, getting out's also really easy, so it's a larger vehicle for sure. All right, also I didn't know if I told you guys, the third row seats are heated, which is a first for us here in Canada for our Hyundai vehicles, and even our Kia cars too. Close the doors. Hopefully the lights will turn back on, and we'll see what you guys have to say. Now you may have noticed that there was no hockey elements on this car. So the way the NHL Edition's working is it comes from factory with, of course, the matte paint and then the graphite charcoal interior, but it doesn't show you the hockey emblems until you actually get the vehicle and make it yours. From there, you will tell the dealership what your preferred team is, and they order the accessories and install them for you. So you get the specialized mats, the specialized cargo liner, the cooler, and of course the door sills. I'll show you what those look like on Hyundai Canada's website. And you can pick from any team in the NHL. I demonstrated with the Toronto Maple Leafs. So here is the cargo liner, just sits behind your third row. It actually has the separations for the third row seats. So if you fold them down or leave one side up, it'll separate and still work. That's what the mats look like if it focuses. So little NHL badge and then little team badge with the actual team name right over there. And then I don't have any photos of what the cooler looks like, you guys. I'm so sorry, but it is a Yeti brand cooler, and the emblems that are on it will be Hyundai's badge and then the NHL's badge. So not a specific team, just Hyundai x NHL, x Yeti. So 3 collabs. Now I want to see what you guys have to say about this vehicle before we end off today's video. So let's do a quick little Q&A. Let me know what you think. Would you take a matte paint vehicle if it meant you could have your favorite hockey team all over it? Or is it not worth it for you? Price for the liners. It's cool. Logo, wish it was bigger though. So there is no price online for the liners because it's not one of our parts department accessories. It's only meant for the Ultimate Calligraphy NHL edition. So unfortunately, I don't have an answer for you there. It is included with the purchase for this car though. What is the size/capacity of the hybrid battery, and what is the estimated electric only range, if any? So because this isn't a plug-in hybrid vehicle, we do not have an estimated electric range. All I know is that this vehicle is supposed to have over 1,000 kilometers of gasoline/hybrid range on a full tank of fuel, and it's meant to spend a lot more time in electric mode than the typical previous generation hybrid. Not previous Palisade, because of course that never existed, but things like the Tucson hybrid or the Santa Fe hybrid. This vehicle, because of its dual motor layout and larger battery, is meant to extend the amount of time it can be an EV. It is a 300-volt battery as well too, and that is of course your high voltage battery, not your typical 12-volt that powers the accessories. Jitin said, you said you were thinking of doing a 24-hour video when I asked in the comments. I think that would be a lot of fun. I just don't know how well that would go. Joseph said, you might be able to get a VIN for an NHL edition and look them up that way. Our catalog pulls up special accessories tab with the VIN applies to the Iron Man Walking Dead XRT edition of cars. That would be actually really cool. I'll ask our Hyundai team next time I go just to see if that is an option, if we can just order the mats for any car. But again, I don't know what the price would be. Steve said, matte paint can get buffed. Patches that spoil the look. Need to be very careful. Exactly. We have done a video on matte paint and the special care that it requires. But essentially, because it is an abrasive surface, there's a ton of like divots, almost like the moon surface. You know, it's not even. That kind of refract that light and doesn't give it that nice shiny glow. Mind you, this still looks nice. It's just not shiny. So if you do anything that polishes that or ruins that abrasive surface, you're going to get patches that are shiny, and that defeats the purpose of a matte look. Ryan said we'll only get 500 units. Yes, that's correct. I don't know if I mentioned that earlier on in this video, but the NHL edition is limited to 500 units. Our Brantford Hyundai store has received 3. I believe one of them is already sold and one of them is in the process of getting sold. To be confirmed whether it did or not, but very limited stock. If you want one, y'all got to get on it now. I will have the links for our Brantford Hyundai store in the comments down below, or sorry, the description, if you would like to check them out and put your name on one of these beauties. And again, keep in mind, you can pick whatever NHL team you want for the accessories. Even if you don't like hockey, but you love the matte exterior and the charcoal interior, you can do that. Just don't give a team name or take the cargo covers out. Up to you. Does the placement of the hybrid battery impact the cargo space behind the third row or the third row seating dimensions in any way? No. So the actual high voltage battery is positioned underneath the passenger seat. So you have a ton of cargo space, a ton of legroom space all throughout the cabin. It's not impacting any of your true cargo space. Guys, I have to be honest, the entirety of this video, my ear has been plugged. So I can hear my voice inside my, it's like a sensory nightmare right now, if I'm being honest. Mazerborn asked, how much torque can this hybrid pull? This vehicle has 339 pound-feet of torque, and of course that is the combined measurements. So that is, of course, with the gasoline engine and our dual electric motors. I really hate this ear popping thing. Anything else? I wonder if there's a manual override for the seats if the electronics don't work, especially after the warranty ends. So there's no manual controls on the seats, unfortunately. That's usually the case with most power seats. There's no real way to move them. Can we see your dad's truck? He's not here anymore. He drives a 2008 GMC Sierra, though. It ain't nice. But you know what? It's honest work. Every time my dad's here, sometimes he comes to drop off a coffee or whatever, he has a sticker on his back windshield that says rust check, because you know you can get rust proofing down your vehicle. I guess at one point it did get rust proofing, but it says rust check with a giant check mark, and when you look at the truck you see rust, so yep, check, the rust is there. He doesn't like that joke. Anyway. Um, let's see. Okay, I think that's about it. Masterborn thinks I have too much earwax up my ear and that's why it's popped. That's not the case. My ears are clean, I swear. It just does that sometimes. All right, let's end off today's video at 39 minutes and 50 seconds. Whew, that was a lot of talking. I hope you guys learned something new. If there's anything you'd like to know about this vehicle that we didn't get to cover in the actual live stream itself, please leave a comment down below because I do check them and I will get back to you. Other than that, leave a like if you haven't already and consider subscribing for more things Kia Hyundai. Bye, you guys.